Motorsports in general, but NASCAR specifically, is very heavily reliant on sponsorship. And throughout the many years of its history, sponsorship, the way it looks, the way it feels, has changed very dramatically. And in today's episode, we're interviewing a very special guest about this very topic. Hope you guys enjoy. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric, and welcome to Out of the Groove, weekend edition, interview edition. Before I get to that, though, I briefly want to shout out a couple things that are happening this weekend and in the coming week. Firstly, I want to plug something very exciting that's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow at noon Eastern on this channel. I will be going live on this channel tomorrow with NASCAR Truck Series driver/owner Jordan Anderson, as well as up-and-coming driver and esports iRacing expert Raja Karuth. We'll be hanging out live on this channel about an hour before the NASCAR Pro Invitational iRacing Series happens on Fox and FS1, so come hang out with us. We're going to be previewing that race, talking about all the major storylines, looking at all the rules, discussing the race in general, and we'll also be interacting with and answering questions from the chat largely during that live stream as well. So if you want to come hang out with me, Truck Series fan favorite Jordan Anderson, as well as Raja Karuth, who knows his iRacing, be there tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Hopefully I will see a whole lot of you guys there. Tomorrow's going to be really exciting. Other quick thing I want to plug, I've got some more interviews in the works. Earlier this week I interviewed Dr. Cormier, a neurosurgeon, about health and safety in NASCAR and how drivers' opinions of it have changed over the years. Today is another kind of unique interview I'm not really used to doing, kind of different than what I usually do on this channel, but I think you guys will at least find it somewhat interesting. Next week, I have some exciting names as well. Schedule's up in the air a little bit, but next week, Natalie Decker will be on the show. So if you have any questions for Natalie Decker, leave a comment, tweet at me, and maybe I'll use it in the show. Always looking for more material. And I'm still trying to confirm perhaps some other ones here in the not so distant future. So I just want to point that out, that we have a lot of interviews happening on this channel that are already happening now, happening very soon. During this whole hiatus, trying to give you guys different types of content, so it's not just me in front of the camera like this, doing Out of the Groove, talking to you guys for 20 minutes every day. I'd like to mix it up a little bit and get some new faces on the channel as well to share some different perspectives. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. But yeah, that's a little bit of what's to come. See you guys tomorrow, noon Eastern time. But for now, let's go to my interview that I recorded earlier today with Dan Proffer from ROXOR. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Eric here. Today, I am joined by Dan Proffer from ROXOR. How are you today? Thanks for coming on.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So you work for ROXOR. I want to make sure everyone knows a little bit about your background and what you do. What is your job, and what do you do at or for ROXOR?
I'm in the marketing department. I manage the activations and sponsorships, partnerships throughout all the different entities that we're involved in.
Yeah, and ROXOR's doing some pretty cool stuff. I mean, those things look pretty darn cool. Like, what kind of stuff have you guys been trying to get involved with, or how have you been trying to activate your sponsor at the track recently?
Well, we're a new company. We just launched in March of 2018. Mm-hmm. So the vehicle itself is very vintage, and it's basically a vehicle that's been around for years and years. We started an entity in the United States in 2013 called Mahindra Automotive North America. Just to give you a little bit of background on Mahindra, they've been around since the mid-40s. In the early 50s, they acquired the licensing to build the off-road vehicles from Willis, or some people know it as Willys. So what we did is they've been building those post-World War II for 60, 70 years now. We've actually brought that to the United States. We basically re-engineered the vehicle and made it an off-road only vehicle that works just phenomenal in the trails. Basically, it's a very, very robust body on frame vehicle, diesel engine. We have a 4 or 5 speed and a automatic. And basically, we're trying to brand the vehicle best we can within the customer base that we think is out there. NASCAR fits us perfectly because just about everybody that goes to the NASCAR race has a pickup truck or an off-road vehicle, a dirt bike, an ATV, something. It's just our people. We're also involved in some other entities, Monster Jam. We just got into. We're doing some country music sponsor tours with Justin Moore, and we're just kind of all over the place, trying to put our name out there.
Definitely. So I've seen you guys at multiple racetracks before. I know you sponsored the Xfinity race in New Hampshire last year, right? That was, yeah. When
got my Christopher Bell hat on right here. Who won it?
There you go. Yeah, part of that hat dance they do in Victory Lane where they all got different hats. You guys are on that list. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know, when you're deciding, like you said you're working marketing for this company, when you're deciding to sponsor something specifically within motorsports, what are like the first main factors you look at?
Well, basically the first thing I look at is the demographic of who's coming to that race or the event. how connected they are to our product or any off-road product for that matter. Again, we're just branding a brand new product. So if they're connected to some type of off-road product or they're into the outdoors, I mean, that's where we should be. It's not like we're not selling makeup or items like that. We're selling hardcore, get dirty and muddy, nasty fun stuff. So works fine. Anything honestly, anything in the motorsports world, whether it's motorcycles, race cars, anything that you want to get outdoors and go get nuts on, that's what we do. That's what we go after.
So in your opinion, if you're because you guys said you're a pretty new brand, if you're a new brand trying to market in NASCAR, where do you think is the most effective place to start? Start like at the track level, at the race team level? I know you guys have done a little bit of everything. You guys have been in magazines as well. Like, where's the most effective place to start, you think?
Well, with limited budgets being a new startup, Mahindra has a very strong backing, but with this particular product, with ROXOR, we have to be mindful of our budget. So rather than going all in with NASCAR corporate, what we started doing is we were picking select tracks in metros and markets that we have pretty high volume sales in. For example, Texas is this weekend. So TMS this weekend was going to be one of our activations. So working directly with the track, we can get a lot more localized and targeted customer come in there. You'll get people from Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, all around the state because Dallas is north.
Yeah.
So we look for those kind of places to go to. And what we do is we'll bring in a big semi truck. Typically, like you'd see Chevrolet or somebody come in with their activations. We'll set up vehicles. We'll have contests, sweepstakes. Some tracks we're looking at doing ride and drives. So for demo rides, to get people in the seat so they can actually see what they're all about. And we can actually talk hands-on with the customer. On top of what the tracks do for us, they do a lot of social and digital. There's a lot of banners around the track, just whatever we negotiate. But it's all based on the customer actually seeing the vehicle live. That works best for us.
Interesting. Makes sense. You kind of hinted at it a second ago, but I do want to ask you about this. I know with all these postponements recently, that's thrown everyone for a loop, really, sponsors included. So you said you had some stuff planned for Texas. I think you guys also, I heard, had some stuff planned for Miami. How does that work now? Like, how are sponsors being affected by all the suspensions around the sport?
Well, honestly, it's not good, I should say. There's a lot of events, and that's what I'm in charge of, all of the events that are on, and they're all canceled right now. Mm-hmm. What I find is immensely genius is the iRacing series that they just launched last week.
Yeah.
So by doing the iRacing series, and I've seen a lot of flack on Twitter of real racers. That's not real racing, this and that. So I'm like, yeah, but where else can you sit down in front of the TV when you're stuck inside home? You can't go anywhere. And what's cool about it is you got the real announcers, Jeff Gordon, and those guys are all talking. They're cutting cameras back and forth to the drivers and actually in their computer chairs, and it just makes a fun. You're listening to Boyer last week. It's just a riot listening to those guys. And so, what's genius about it is, as far as on my side, is they were able to input all of our signage, the banners, and everything in there. So when they have a yellow flag lap, even though it's computer, the yellow flag goes by, and I can see ROXOR in the background. And it's just cool, and I'm a fan, So whether you see the banner, and my job is to make sure the banner is seen. But for me, I'm just a NASCAR fan. I love to watch the races, so that's the genius way to do it.
Yeah, that's cool. Everyone's kind of coming together on the fly and figuring stuff out that I guess works for everyone a little bit. Yeah. So I also want to ask. Oh, sorry. Go on.
It's a funky time right now where you just have to do whatever you have to do, and it's uncharted waters, and not really anybody knows what to do. So, I mean, I thought that was a really, really cool deal for them to be able to, iRacing and NASCAR, to pull it off so fast with the tracks that have the local and current banners up there. It's not like they're running stuff from 2 years ago and tracks from 2 years ago. And I don't think fans really realize that these guys, the drivers, they're running these video games. These tracks are very, very realistic. I've used it before, and you can really learn a lot sitting behind a computer on how your car's working and what you're going to do. So it's really, really a cool deal.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to ask you about this. Marketing in NASCAR has changed a lot in recent years. That's no secret. It's not good enough these days to just kind of stick a few stickers on the car and run around for 500 miles. Most sponsors demand more for their money. So I want to ask you, what are some of the most effective, like, new activation strategies you've seen around the sport?
Again, the ride and drives are the biggest things. People come to the races, they want to do something except grab a piece of brochure or literature and do whatever. They'd like to go ride the things or drive them. We're working on that heavily. There's lots of different things within the social networks where you've seen on MRN radio where they'll throw out a contest or a questionnaire to the fans in the seats. The fans in the seats will actually get on an app and activate that way. That way, we can sponsor stuff like that. Anything that involves the fan, rather than just, like I said earlier, rather than just seeing a banner go by at 180 mile an hour, if you can involve the fan into whatever you're doing and get them engulfed in that. And you'll see a lot of the different people at the tracks, all the different companies are trying to do stuff like that. Most of the tracks have what they call a fan zone. You're familiar with that.
Yeah.
In the fan zone, you'll see Xfinity, Chevrolet. You'll see all kinds of people out there getting fans involved in doing things, and they get free swag to go with it, which is always cool to get a free shirt or something. But it also gets them involved in. And the other good thing that we like about NASCAR is fans with NASCAR, myself included, drinking my Monster, is fans are very useful of the sponsors that they see in the car. You know, I got hooked on NASCAR back in the day watching the Tide car go around. I've tied my Columbia right now. It's just people in the NASCAR world and a lot of different, especially motorsports, are all very connected to the brands that are out there. So anytime that we can throw our brand out to them and say, hey, look at this, hope you think it's cool enough for you to go buy one. So that's what we look at.
So last question I really have here. We've seen changes recently with how like title sponsorship, that model's working. I mean, I'm wearing the t-shirt of the new logo, which I actually like the new logo, but it's different. It's different seeing it this way. What do you think the future of NASCAR sponsorship looks like? More digital, more at-track stuff? Like you kind of mentioned it there, but a lot more hands-on. What do you think the future of NASCAR sponsorship looks like?
As far as the sponsorship goes, I mean, we're in it as far as we'll go as deep as we can go with our budget. We actually believe in it. We think that, there's been up and down of fans and that kind of thing. But I think as time evolves, you have to embrace the change. And if it becomes more digital, that's fine too. We can change with the flow. I'm just a big believer that people go to NASCAR to smell the fuel, to hear the engines, to hear the roar. And if you go digital full time, I just don't think it's going to fly. They're doing the right thing. NASCAR is. I believe they're bringing all this kind of stuff together, and they're still pushing the fans. We just gotta get that new fan base, and it's just like building a new baseball team or a new football team. You got all new rookies, and nobody's going to watch. As the rookies start coming through, and they start becoming heroes like the old days, I think that's when it's a good time to be in NASCAR now, so we can go with that build and be in with that. So to me, it's always going to be live horsepower, smoke flying, people yelling and fighting, the whole deal. That's NASCAR.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
love it.
I agree with what you're saying there about kind of getting in now while all these drivers are young. Like you see all these superstars in the making, but it makes sense to get in early. That's smart if you're a startup. I mean, I'm not no businessman, but I imagine that's a smart way to do it.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. If you look at this year's rookie field, there's 6, 7, 8 rookies that they're hot right now.
Yeah.
And so to be able to get on board that way, and for a sponsor, we can get in a little bit cheaper, especially being new. As they build their teams, we can build with them and we grow with them. So, I don't know if people know, but you go put your name on Brad Keselowski's door is not $50 a week, So we got to go in with the smaller and go from small to big. My whole goal in this is not just doing activations at racetracks, but eventually I'd like to get into sponsoring some drivers, because it all works back to, hey, there's the ROXOR car. Hey, I saw the ROXOR out in the fan zone. And hey, I saw a ROXOR hat that somebody was wearing, and it all wraps around into one big package. But we have to go slow, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us over here. Next time I'm at the track, I'm gonna have to try out, maybe get behind the wheel of one of those ROXOR vehicles. But yeah, thanks Dan for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me, and keep rolling.
For sure.
There you have it. Big thank you to Dan for taking some time to speak with us. Hope you guys found that interesting. I know I certainly did. It's not too often you get to really candidly talk to a sponsor in NASCAR, someone who's in charge of spending their dollars in our favorite motorsport. It's kind of interesting to see where their head's at and what they're thinking. And also, I liked what he had to say about how this the COVID-19 has kind of affected that, all these suspensions. It's a tough time for everybody, and sponsors are in the same boat here, trying to figure out things kind of on the fly. So really big thanks to him for coming on the show. And a big thank you to all of you you for watching. Subscribe if you are new. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. Could not do this show without the support I get from all of you on Patreon. We do have some exciting things in the works. I mentioned some familiar faces going to be on the channel here in the next few days. Tomorrow you got Jordan Anderson, Raja Karuth, and myself will be live before the iRacing event. Natalie Decker, with barring scheduling and everything, should be on next week. So if you want to support the channel, check out that top link down in the description. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, again, noon Eastern time tomorrow, we will be live previewing the iRacing Pro Invitational at Texas Motor Speedway. Jordan Anderson, Raja Karuth, myself, should be a whole lot of fun. I encourage you all to show up and bring some good questions because we will be interacting with the live chat. I'm really excited for it. I'm gonna try to put some production value into it so it's, you know, looks kind of nice and fancy inside. I'm gonna try to do some work into that as well. So I hope you guys are excited for that because I know I certainly am. Hopefully I'll see a whole lot of you guys there. But thank you for watching this video. I'll see you again very, very soon. Have a great Saturday, guys.